Life, Love, and Lipstick.
Welcome to Life, Love, and Lipstick with Lesley Stewart and myself, Tracy Lynn. We are here again. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Tracy. You and I are just talking about these gray, rainy days we're getting right now, but at least we're in May.
I know. Happy May.
Happy May to you too.
I am looking forward to this. Nice to see like all the flowers starting to bloom. Those, is it magnolia trees or the cherry blossoms?
Yes, everything's out. But you are affected by seasonal allergies, so it's nice, but not so nice.
I know. It's so pretty to see, but then there's me. That's like, oh, nice. Thanks. Hi, how are you? My eyes are puffy. And yes, I know I should be taking something for it, but every year I try not to.
No, good for you. Yeah,
because they say that you can take something and then eventually it wears off because your body becomes immune to it.
Yeah, so, it's not good. And like a lot of times people this time of year will use the eye drops too excessively. And they said that your body starts to rely on those eye drops and then you can't go without them. So then you're an eye drop addict for the rest of your life.
And the same goes for nasal spray.
Sure.
You can become addicted to that stuff.
Yeah. So best to avoid if you can.
So, and whenever I used to have to use the nasal spray to clear out all those the sinus issues that I get with it, but then I would get the nosebleeds that happen with it. So yeah, I never outgrew it. I never outgrew my allergies. They just seem to be getting worse every year, but
that's
seasonal. It's a good sign that the weather's nice. So I'll take that.
May is a good month. Everything really starts to turn, right? So we're feeling good. We have a good show ahead of us today. Lots of chit chat.
Yes, we have lots to talk about coming up. Obviously, we're going to get to our celebrity gossip that's happening. But after this break, we're going to talk about something that is very, very important. And the stat on this will blow your mind. So especially if you have young kids.
Yeah.
Tweens and teens, it's affected them. So stick around and we'll be right back on Life, Love, and Lipstick. Welcome back to Life, Love, and Lipstick. This is Lesley Stewart and myself, Tracy Lynn. So if you have tweens, I mean, we both have, well, you have a tween, I have teens. This stat is so mind-blowing. Yeah. By the age of 13, 80% of girls, and I'm going to put in boys in this because I do believe that it affects both male and female, distort the way that they look online.
Wow.
So when you let that sink in, 80% distort the way that they look online. So we're talking about filters and adding stuff, taking things away, narrowing your face. It's scary.
Like gone are the days of just posting a photo. Yeah. Now, I mean, there's like think about it, little boys and girls having to worry about, your lighting even, or how you're looking into the camera. I mean, it's never mind all of what you can really doctor up.
Well, I have seen people have honestly 5+ apps on their phone, and the photo that they take goes through a process, and it, like you said, gone are the days. But remember back when we were younger, you had to take a picture and then you had to send it away to get processed.
Right.
And you were just hoping that picture turned out.
Yep, that's right.
You couldn't recreate that moment.
No, and you get a good picture and it's blurry, or or it's clear and you look awful, and that's it. I mean, there was no taking 50 pictures to find the right one.
Getting those awkward teen and tween pictures when we were younger, right? We didn't get to edit things. But so 80%, that's a huge number. And they're saying, even though we all know the dangers of social media and how it's been widely documented, they have so many stats, they have so many stories and how this, and it's more so, it's rising with this pandemic.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Because the kids, what are they doing? They're online. They're at home, stuck at home.
Comparing each other. Okay. I know we as women, it's just like a default, and not that we compare, but you're always like, wow, she looks great. Or maybe we have a distorted image of ourselves and we don't see what other people see, but you're always like trying to fight that whole, the aging clock. Right. But to know that this is happening at such a young age, and bringing this to light is the Dove Self-Esteem Project. And I shared with you this new campaign.
So good.
New commercial. And I first off, well done. Kudos to Dove for doing this. I know that they do a great job with promoting self-esteem and self-awareness
Yes.
and loving the skin that you're in. But this commercial, I was disturbed by it, but not in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's just shocking, right? And so I was telling you,
Mhm.
Tracy, that I ended up showing my son, who's 12, because I know it's kind of geared more to the female side of things. But I thought, you know what, you need to see this too. You need to see what your fellow female classmates are going through. And I know he's always shooting TikTok videos of himself and doing things, and he'll take a million cuts, and you know what I mean? And he'll just keep,
Yeah.
well, I know it's part of him too. And he'll come in, and I've never heard a boy so many times say to me, Mom, am I ugly? Or is my hair's bad? Or constantly taking, he's got the cutest little face. I know I'm his
He
mom.
is a sweet looking boy. I will say, I have seen pictures of him, and he is a beautiful, like, he's a good looking kid, and he's just so sweet. And this is why this is so disturbing, because they are looking at themselves and getting this distorted image because they're now comparing themselves to other people
Right.
in their group or other people online that are in their age group. And it's like, okay. And I know with my daughter, who is 15.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. And she's like, well, Mom, look at her. She's the same age as me. And I have to do a double look. And I'm like, are you sure about that?
Right.
Like,
No, you're like, no, she's a 25-year-old woman.
she looks older than me. Like,
Yeah,
you know, when you do that comparison, and it's scary because these are young girls and they're all comparing each other. Even boys are comparing each other. And then the flip side, what kids say to each other, what they say, they don't realize how that affects that kid.
Yes, big time. I told Jack, I said, I still remember certain things that I heard someone say to someone in school, or someone said something to me. I said, I am telling you right now, it will stick with you for life.
Yes.
One little tiny comment can change you for life. So
yeah.
really.
I will say, as we've learned multiple times on our show, that when you're dealing with past stuff, it does come up later in life, and there are reasonings why we do certain things. And I will say, I was teased, I was taunted, I was bullied.
Yeah, me
I
too.
was beaten. Like, I mean, there's so much, and it affects you later in life. And then you get people saying, well, I can't believe you're not confident. Well, it's not that I'm not confident. You can't unhear things.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what it is. It sticks with you. You know, I grew up in the dance world, you know, dancers, any parents that are listening to have dancers, they know, or figure skaters, gymnasts, you're in this unrealistic world of body weight. I remember they used to weigh us as teenagers and tell us exactly what weight I should be. And I mean, I had a completely different body composition than the girl next to me. You know, it was just crazy. And so that stuff sticks with me. I don't compare myself to anybody else. I compare myself still to a dancer's body. I'm like, in my 40s.
Yeah. And you know what I will say, going back to growing up myself, I had my own issues with food, and I know food disorders are on the rise, especially with this pandemic. A lot of the stats on that, mind blowing, because when I was younger, you didn't talk about it. You hit it, and you just dealt with it. And I just remember just that feeling of comparing myself to the supermodels at that time. Think about who was, the big supermodel, Kate Moss.
Kate Moss was
super skinny, but
yeah,
that
she
was
was
her
like
body.
the new Twiggy, remember? She was supposed to be the new Twiggy from the 60s. So yeah.
So when we look at who we were looking up to, and as you said, you were comparing yourself to a dancer's body, that, you know, of course, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm being weighed. And now we know, because I feel like we've gone through this so that we can help our kids to say, okay, listen, it's just a number.
Yeah.
You are, like, my daughter's very athletic.
Good.
So muscle weighs more.
Yes.
Right? Which, you know, I've had to instill that in her. But this reverse selfie that Dove is doing.
Yeah, so people need to look it up.
Yeah, because it's the evolution of I guess us over the last 15 years. And they start off with this woman who's just done to the nines with every possible app and filter. And then it ends with a little girl.
And it kind of takes your breath. Girl. You're
like, where's this going? And then you realize this innocent little girl is so tainted that she feels that she can't be herself. And isn't that the worst when you see people and you're like, are you sure that's you in person? Because you didn't look like that in your picture.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah. And it's a shame, that people do that. But I guess it is. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
the social pressures. And I think that's what it's all about. Social media has there's so much greatness to it, but there's just, I think, as much bad in so many ways because of, especially for the youth, because we didn't have to deal with it. We didn't live it.
No, nothing nothing was put out there publicly, really. If we wanted to talk to somebody, you had to pick up the old phone. And actually, I was watching a documentary the other night. It was the Hank Williams documentary. So this is going back in the day. And the phone he was on was that old one where you had to dial up. And I remember
it's like,
and then if you messed up, you had to hang up.
yes, it was the worst. Especially for her, you're like,
and I just laughed because that's what we had. Our phone had a cord on it. And if you were on it late at night, guaranteed mom or dad was coming in, mostly dad, to rip it out of the wall and embarrass you. And there was no instant communication, or you got handed a note.
No.
Or somebody wrote something about you on the bathroom wall or something.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of about it, right? That's why I explained to my son that same thing, and saying that we were kind of in a little bubble. They are exposed to the whole world. I said, anybody in the whole world. And you know how they're also so obsessed with their numbers too. I'm like, you're 12 years old. Why are you obsessed with how many people are watching your videos?
How many likes do I have? And you're like, because my kids do the same thing. And they said, well, you look, I'm like, listen, when I'm doing mine, it's work related.
Yes.
I need the numbers so that we can get sponsors on to sponsor the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Though that's ours
in there for anybody who's listening. But yeah, I mean, that's, numbers are different. Stop being so fixated on numbers. My numbers I was fixated on, as we'll go back, was weight, numbers on weight. And it was awful. Awful.
As you say, we know now that, I mean, I have a lot of friends. I'm just over 5'8", and I have a lot of friends exact same height as me, and we all weigh drastically different from one another. Yes. But everyone would consider us still relatively thin and fit or whatever. But we weigh like 10 to 15, 20 pounds apart.
Well, yeah. I mean, you add an inch or so, things go in different areas.
And just bone mass and just, some, I have a friend who's, she's got more of a figure. She's got hips and everything. And like, it's just, you can't look at weight like that at all.
No. I mean, I'm glad that we have I'm hoping that we are turning more of a positive direction when it comes to that. But this reverse selfie, again, I'm going to go back to it. Kudos to Dove. And Dove's always been great with their campaigns of feeling good in your skin, and how, like you just said, that there are different body types.
Yes.
And the main thing that we need to drive is, don't listen to anybody. Don't even listen to a man about what he says about your body.
Right. Well, and that'll do it. If you already have self-esteem issues and your guy or a guy says something to you, especially if they hit the weak spot, the sensitive spot, you're done. And it shouldn't be that way.
It's the triggers, right? So hopefully no one ever has to deal with that.
Yeah.
But this campaign, part of the Dove Self-Esteem Project, I mean, Dove started in 2004. And since then, it has supported 70 million young women, with the end goal is to educate 250 million people by 2030.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good for that.
That's amazing. And you also got to love when you have role models, like as in today, we compared ones that we had. Now you have Lizzo, who amazing took this selfie, and she wasn't wearing anything. And she's just basically covering up her breasts with her arm, and she's holding on to a mug. And she looks amazing. She's so body confident, and she's so confident.
Is.
That excites me, that our tweens, kids have such good role models compared to when it comes to body image.
When it comes to body image, exactly. That's the thing. And as you say, we were growing up in the supermodel era where they were king, right? Or queens. And so that's what we were looking at. And if we didn't look like that, well,
if they didn't age like that or look like this. Now, all of a sudden, body frames are different. They want you to have this little tiny waist with the big hips and booty, which I don't even know how all of a sudden we are looking like that naturally. But that seems to be a big thing. And then it's also called Hour with Her with no digital distortion. So that's another thing that Dove is doing. And they're saying, stop digitally, like putting those filters on and stuff on your pictures and just post as is.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know if people will do it.
It's tough. It's a tough one, right? To be the first person to just say, this is how I look. Well, was it Khloe Kardashian that got caught with a photo that was released of her without all of her filters? And freaked out. Like, how dare you?
Was so insane. I saw that and I'm like, there's no way. Yeah. Unbelievable. I know for myself, on my social, when I do an early morning show, listen, the last thing I want to do first thing in the morning is put on makeup. So I do like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
It's radio. Nobody's really going to see me, right? Only reason people see me is because I do social posts. And so with my friends, they laugh because they're like, you start your day off with like a ponytail and a hoodie and like no makeup. Then midday, you might do something with yourself. At night, it's like, it's a whole new you. And I went, well, yeah. So when I post stuff without my makeup and stuff on, it bothers me because I have my own imperfections that I'm trying to work through and that whole distortion thing. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm doing this for my kids. Yeah. Because I want them to feel comfortable with what they have. Because I mean, our kids are perfect. We both know that. We have beautiful children. We want them to like embrace it. So, but yeah, interesting you brought up Khloe Kardashian because coming up after the break, we're going to discuss her a little bit more. The last thing she needs to worry about is the pictures that are being leaked about her because there's some heavy stuff going on in her world.
No kidding.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about what she's going through as far as shaming and kudos to Dove again for their reverse selfie program that they're doing. Cause I think it's very powerful. Yeah. Very, very powerful.
Talk about these things, right? And the more we talk about it, the more we can address these issues and we can start to fix the problems. So.
And that is part of the sisterhood here at Life, Love, and Lipstick. So stick around. We'll be right back after a quick message after this break. Welcome back to Life, Love, and Lipstick with Lesley Stewart and myself, Tracy Lynn. So we were talking about Khloe Kardashian and that picture. I mean, she spent the last couple weeks hiding this picture. And it was a picture of her unedited. I believe it was her assistant that posted it without permission, obviously. No filter. Right. No, like we're talking raw, which I still think she looked beautiful. And it was like old Khloe Kardashian.
That's right. And so they took the photos and split screen them. Yeah. And then it looked like two different faces.
Yes, because we get into that whole contouring. Yes. And if you don't like the way your nose is shaped, you can contour this. Right. Oh my gosh. Like I tried to do the contouring. Every once in a while I tried to do it. It never works out. I look like one of those army guys.
I was just going to say, it looks like you put your camo.
It's like it's a paint by numbers. So basically it looks like paint by numbers because you have dark here, dark on your cheekbones. And if you don't blend it, it looks awful.
That's what I give credit to makeup artists because then when they're first doing it, you're like, what? And then all of a sudden you're like, wow.
I know. See, I will go with crappy hair on set. If I would rather invest in somebody who knows how to put makeup on because
I'm with you.
Makeup, especially with today's HD and everything, it's everything. You put the wrong makeup on, it will make you look so bad.
100%. And now with our big, wide, flat screen TVs, and it's just like, wow, I don't even want to see myself.
No. And that's a hard thing to do is to see yourself and watch yourself or listen to yourself.
Yes.
As it is. But yeah, so she took a picture of herself saying that, this is really who I am. And she tried to kind of, backpedal about her body and what she's done to it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden she's like, yeah, this is who I really am. Doesn't matter. And she said she's been shamed. She's been body shamed through her whole life that people would question, are you sure you're a Kardashian? And this, which is bad because I do know that she took a brunt of a lot of stuff from the media.
Of course.
But I think that's the least of her worries right now because right now she is like being shamed, but not body shamed anymore. She's being shamed for taking Tristan Thompson back after multiple reports of cheating.
Right. And we talked about this.
Yes.
Like last week, and we went on about this whole conversation and we wondered what would happen. And look what happened.
Yeah, because she put the ring back on. Seemed like everything was going very well. Allegations of, again, allegations, we'll put that in quotes,
Yeah.
supposedly, there's actually two women that have come out. One is saying that, yes, she was hooking up with him, but
Yeah.
he had told her that she was out of the picture. I don't know timeline for this, what was going on in November. It seemed like there was a whole bunch of stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
But then she said, I guess for True's birthday, which was just a few weeks ago or a month ago, she turned 2 and she said, oh, it would be nice for True to have some siblings. Yeah. So now there's a Twitter, social media, I don't want to say war going on, but it's like high school stuff. A lady has come out to say, well, it's funny that you say that. True already has siblings and possibly one on the way.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that is the worst.
Yes. And it's like a whole thing. And she's like, hey, if you want to talk, boo, I've got the teapot on. Like,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
so
So already, we know this stuff goes on. We know this stuff happens in our world, but now they are in the brightest light shining down on them, exposing this whole controversy and this whole world to the rest of us. It's just,
like, I honestly, I feel kind of guilty
yeah.
enjoying this conversation when I'm watching it pan out on social media and everything. But I'm there and I want to know what happens next. And if you are going to be a celebrity and put your life out there, I mean, I believe that you should have, especially if you are in any sort of public figure situation or whatever you do,
Yep.
business, you don't even have to be a public figure. If you're
Mhm.
going to have an open account when it comes to social media, you have a little bit about your life. Everybody
Yes.
needs to know everything, and not saying that we're hiding it, but not
Well,
everybody needs to know everything.
no, they don't. I'm amazed what some people will put out there. Especially how
I
they're feeling personally, like their real personal feelings about certain things. But yeah, I mean, we all know, and I always try to, again, teaching our kids is that often on social media, you're just seeing like little highlights of people's lives,
Yes,
right?
they're
You're not
highlight
seeing
reel.
all the stuff in between
Mhm.
that makes it just real, right?
And then you have I'm going to go public with whatever situation is going on in my life. Now, if you have two people that are together and then all of a sudden split, it seems like there's a race to get to the finish line of who's going to post this on social media first, right? Who's going to expose the other person?
Yeah.
Um, that's a hard one. I mean, that's not really fun. But then again, you're kind of like, I want to know what happens next. It's like a real life soap opera.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, and interesting, a conversation came up over the weekend about social media because there was somebody had posted something, and I wanted to just check in to make sure that she was okay. Like, are you okay? That's like, I feel whatever you're going through, I
Yeah.
understand, and I'm here if you want to chat.
Mhm.
And she was saying that she's really feeling this being silenced. So when she, herself, she's going through something like many people are going through a lot of ups and downs, not only personally, but in relationships could be.
Yep.
But she says that she feels like she has to be silenced and she doesn't want to be silenced anymore because people say things like, don't air your dirty laundry on social media.
Mm.
Do
Mhm.
you really want to put that out there? Do you really want to do that? And then this one, what will people think if you
Mm.
actually tell them what's going on?
Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's so true.
it's very true.
You do feel like in some situations, and I've heard this multiple times, they said that they feel like there's like a muzzle on their face and they can't say their side or just like come out and deal with what they've been going through.
Oh, I just think that it's just, I feel like social media has to, the pendulum is going to have to swing too far the other way. I think we're already there, but it feels like it's still swinging. And to come back somewhere in the middle where it's controlled. And because again, there is so much good that we can do with social media, right?
There is good stuff. And you know what? I get them, people, they have a voice. It's more now than ever that people want to be heard.
Mhm.
And maybe they don't want to be heard for all the right reasons. Maybe it's just to play the game. And I've said this to a lot of people that I know, you know what, just ignore it. Like the other person thrives on this.
Right.
Just
Yes.
don't do it. And you know, people will say, I don't know if this has happened to you before, but I'll post things and I love inspirational quotes or just
Yeah.
something. And I just post it for just the sake of posting it because I like what it says. And then you get the, ooh, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
having a bad day because they put sugar in my coffee and I don't like sugar in my coffee. Like,
Yeah,
don't
people like reading between the lines.
don't read too much into it.
Yes.
So, or, you know, I wanted a Big Mac, but McDonald's had a lineup and I wasn't going to wait. But like that sort of thing can trigger you for a bad day. But it's just interesting that people will post and then all of a sudden they don't post. And then when you inquire about like, okay, what's going on? They get mad.
Yes. Yes. Well, and you know what? And I think there's a lot of people that waste too much time in responding and going back and forth with, you know, a list of people who are starting to attack them personally. And then you've wasted your entire day or days. And it gives you anxiety and stress. And you're like, it's just like, you know what? Don't respond anymore. Like it's, you
The
have
best
to.
is when you get like ticked off and somebody ticks you off and then you grab your phone and you're like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like all of a sudden I didn't realize I could type so fast with my thumbs.
Yeah. You're like,
And then I learned that I can do the voice to text.
oh yeah.
Right. But it only does so many characters at one time.
Oh, you've learned it during your rant?
Yeah.
Oh, rude, you cut me off.
Just, you know, I just wanted to test it out. But it's funny how they say, you know, an upset or angry female can type super fast. But here's the thing. No matter if you're just texting your kids or texting a significant other, or you're just mad at something or someone, guess what? They're not reading that paragraph. They're not.
That's very true. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And I'm like, you better have read the whole thing. Because I took a lot of time. Like, I have to get it out.
They respond too quickly. You're like, you didn't read all of that.
Because the worst is even if you're just sending a nice message and it turns out to be a paragraph and you get, yeah, cool. Okay.
Oh, I know you're like, oh, are you busy right now?
Yeah. No, this is not cool. Actually, it is cool. But like, it's just like, I put effort into that message and you didn't even respond back with like proper grammar.
I can't even honestly imagine living with this in high school.
No.
I just can't. I can't. I'm like, think back to like the 90s and which we're going to talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
Back. But yeah, like having to deal with the 90s themselves and social media. Oh boy.
Yeah. And you know what? Our show is not just about cheaters and you know, what has gone wrong. Because I mean, someone asked me that the other day, like, "Ooh, you guys like it when you talk about those cheaters and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, come on, it's just entertainment. We just put in our personal thing with it. But hey, if a celebrity's going to give us a headline for a story, of course we're going to roll with it." But I just really thought it was an interesting conversation on the weekend when this female said that she feels like she's being silenced. And a lot of females and males, I think they feel the same way. And a lot of people will reach out to that because there's no like, not saying that we need a spokesperson, because I don't think we need a brand ambassador for any sort of, you know, relationship that's gone wrong.
No.
But interesting, what would people think if they were to actually know? Well, I don't know. Do you want to air your dirty laundry out?
Some people do. I think like some people just need anyone to listen. And it's best, I think, to keep, you know, a lot to yourself. Protect yourself, right?
True, especially when you have kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
I mean, that's the worst, is knowing when your kids come home from school. I remember once they came home and they're like, I Googled your name because we learned how to do Google. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
But then I realized, oh yeah, that's right. I have kids. So yeah, you can Google my name. Because that was always something that I always thought about.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Even though I remember going to school and on a typewriter. Now the kids are going to school and they can Google your name.
Yes, they can. And I know, and it's amazing what can pop up and you can't get rid of, and photos and whatever, right? So
yeah, always say be careful what you're responding to on social media, because you may think that you have a private account, but as soon as you comment on someone who has a public account,
yes,
it's out there.
It's out there. We used to, so when I used to run the Cat cheerleaders, we used to have the Hamilton police come in and talk to all the girls on the team. So their ages ranging from 18, 19 up to late 20s, and talk to them about social media and the dangers of, you know, okay, you posted a picture and perhaps it was a little questionable. You deleted it. You think it's gone. They said it never goes away. And they showed them examples and traced an old photo of me from years ago when I was dancing, and I was just in a uniform, so it was fine. But they showed how it went around all over the world, different continents. And like when it's like millions of people have viewed it,
That's
my jaw
scary.
dropped. So I thought I hadn't seen that photo in years. It was on the internet and it had gone around. And that was a good lesson for me and for everybody.
Yeah. Because people also take screenshots too.
That's right.
And you're kind of like, okay. And then all of a sudden a photo pops up of you and you're like, oh, look at this, and people tag us in pictures and you're like, okay, well, that's great. But right. So like you can't escape it. And that's the scary part, that you were able to see a picture. And I know that I'm very mindful about stuff that I post, but man, it takes one person to post you at a odd time.
Well, that's the thing. I never posted the picture. It was an Argo fan had posted a picture of me. So it wasn't even something I posted. And it wasn't even during a time when social media existed yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's so scary.
Yeah.
Good lesson for the kids, and especially females. Be careful what you post, because it could come back to haunt you. I know, and I say this to my daughter too. I know you want to fit in, but you've got to be very careful, because later on, when you apply for that job, or, maybe you're being interviewed because of an accomplishment that you had or have, people will dig it up. People will find it.
Yep. That's what people do nowadays. Whether you're, as you say, going for a job or going on a date, you're Googled. All your social media platforms, everybody's in there checking it out. I know all employers do it now, right? And because you can take a quick peek and you can see a lot about this person.
Yeah, and there's interesting sites out there too. If you're ever wanting to Google somebody to see if their name is on it, you can learn a lot about a person before you meet them. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that for another show though, because coming up after the break, we're going back to the 90s, which I didn't even realize we were out of it. But
apparently,
we'll just wait. Just wait. Come back after the break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Life, Love, and Lipstick. Lesley Stewart and myself, Tracy Lynn. So we were talking about Khloe Kardashian and how she's being shamed for taking back Tristan all those times. And I think that it's funny. I mean, you're shamed no matter what you do. You're shamed if you take them back. You're shamed if you don't take them back and you don't work on it. So, it's always something.
Right. It's sad, but you know what? Well, hopefully we'll see what comes.
Yes. So we'll see if True actually has some extra siblings out there. Who knows? But okay, so we're going to talk about something kind of fun.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. I saw a TikTok and I don't know if it was a TikTok or an Instagram reel. It was something. And it was a younger generation. And they were showing off something that they bought at the store and that they were thrilled and super excited because they were introduced to the skirt, the skirt with the short underneath. Yeah. And they were just blown away that this existed. And the guy comes on and he's like rolling his eyes going, oh my gosh, like this was so old school. This, like, we wore this, we brought it up. And I started thinking, okay, the skirt, they're excited about the skirt. Okay. And 90s are coming back. Supposedly.
Yeah. I mean, but that's kind of been around, like still in, if you look at golf skirts and tennis and that, it's technically a skirt, right? Yeah. I mean, like
it's just a 2-for-1.
It's a 2-for-1. And it just, you can wear it a little shorter because it's a skirt, because you got shorts underneath.
You can go for a run. You can do squats. You can do whatever you want in the skirt because it's not going to reveal anything.
Right. And you look cute.
Yeah. So I thought it was like really funny because they're like, oh, the 90s are back in full force. And I'm
right. But okay, Tracy, I need to know, how do you honestly feel about the long bike shorts being back? Do you like them?
When I was younger, I did, but I don't know if I can rock them right now. Actually, I know that I wouldn't be able to rock them right now.
I just feel it's a lot of material because everything's high-waisted again.
Yeah.
And now you've got your shorts down to your knees. That's a lot of material compared to what was around in the early 2000s when, Britney Spears started, like, pants were down to the hip bones and things were short too.
We need to find a happy medium because the high-waisted, I loved the high-waisted look when it came back into style, right? But when I put it on, it totally changed my figure.
Of course it does.
Was not flattering.
Yeah.
I look at people and I'm like, how do you make this work? And then there's the Britney Spears shorts, but
with the zippers this long. But I mean, okay, so we don't need to have a zipper this short, and we don't need to have a zipper like this long. That's like, I don't like that. I don't like it.
I'm not finding this happiness in between because I'm screwed no matter what. I'm either going to look bigger or my stuff's going to be hanging out and it's not going to look nice.
Right.
Okay. Listen, quarantine, this whole pandemic, the last 13 months, things have shifted, things have changed. Getting older, hips have gotten a bit wider. I can't do certain fashions.
Yeah. And so with the bike shorts, they allow people to get away with more, especially with, women, it covers up the thighs and it goes all the way down low. But I'm even looking at, say, like Lululemon. Okay. And I see that on site. Yeah. They got all kinds of bike shorts on there, the long ones. And I'm like, I don't care if you're Lululemon or I don't like that style.
Yeah, like I'm all for a capri.
Yeah.
Those always look cute.
Yes.
So here's the thing. We were just talking about some of fashions that I didn't even realize. I didn't realize that 90s were out. I thought 90s were just a continual like fashion trend. Like, because I do dress. I have a very different dress. I mean, I will be on trend. I wear a lot of different things depending on where I'm going. But then again, I'm like super chill with like a rock tee and some denim shorts or just some track pants. Like I go from one extreme to the other, right?
Yes, me too.
So I didn't really realize that certain things were out, but they were coming back in. My daughter will be like, "Oh, can I wear this?" I'm like, "Ooh, finally, we're twinning. You want to wear my clothes?" And she's like, "No, it's just back in style." Okay, fine.
But we remember when everything was like wide-legged too, right? So you had the wide legs, all of your workout pants, like the old original Lululemons that I had.
They're coming back with the flare.
Yeah, right. They've got the flare. Well, I wore those out years ago, but yeah, they're back again. And I kind of like that tight leg more.
I know, because they just see, I don't know, maybe it's just because they're more flattering, but yeah, all this stuff's coming back in style. So here's my thing that I have a beef about with these younger people. Okay. You're saying that the 90s are back and you guys are dressing 90s. You really want to dress 90s, you better go for the 90s eyebrow too.
Oh, yes.
You want to embrace what it was really like back then?
Yeah, you got to go for it. I mean, that's the thing. So our producer, Celine, she's, I think, 25, right? And so she was telling us that, no, it's, guys, we're doing the 90s, but we're doing it cooler. And, it's trendy, but it's still 90s. So
and I want to face is like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what do you mean you're doing it cooler? You want to have a 90s off?
Let's bring in the Prince of Bel-Air. We'll talk about this.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Will Smith, he just posted a picture on social media and he quoted it as, "I am not in the best shape of my life." So he's got the dad bod. I don't know. I don't
COVID.
know.
Let's blame COVID.
Yeah. I mean, some people like will look at A-Rod. He's like, I'm working out. I don't have the dad bod anymore. And it's like, well,
yeah, he's gross.
Yeah, he's whatever. But Will Smith, I was like, wow, good for him for posting that picture.
I know. Because, he's always been really fit, right? So,
yes, like he was always lean, and now he's worn a little bit of,
well, that's okay.
Pandemic belly, which most of us are. But I just thought it's cute.
We're all going through it.
Yeah, I just think it's so cute that the youngers, and I have a teenage daughter, I have a teenage son, that they're like, oh, 90s, which I have bought my daughter before we went into this lockdown, the bicycle shorts with the sweatshirt.
Yes. Because
that's really stylish with the sneakers, right?
Yes.
But I just think it's funny that they don't want to embrace all the trends from the 90s because the 90s makeup was even really dark.
It was very dark, the darker lips and, and very structured in some of the suit style, like the jackets,
the blazer,
right?
The t-shirt,
the blazers. Yeah. right? Remember Benetton? Like Benetton was the 90s, right?
Mhm.
And what about all those crazy sweaters that were brightly knit sweaters, like weird
Yes.
colors on them? Who's wearing those? Come on, bring them out.
Let me go to my closet right now. I'll probably have like 2 or 3 of them. Not going to lie. And then now it's like the overalls with the baby doll tee underneath.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, what do you mean they're back in style? And like, I mean, I've been rocking overalls for a long time because they're great. You don't have to think about anything. You just put them on. I don't have to match it with anything.
What
But
about grunge? We're not
yeah,
seeing grunge yet, right? We're not seeing the tartan shirt wrapped around the waist too much yet, are we?
we're seeing it. But here's the thing. They're not really going in that deep into the grunge.
No.
You didn't
It's the
shower
other
when you were
stuff.
grunge. It
No.
was cool to have like unshowered look and dirty
Yeah,
hair.
like Kurt Cobain, like
Yeah.
greasy hair. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, believe it or not, I was grunge in high school.
Oh yeah, I would go there sometimes too.
Yep.
I was like a whole bunch of different things.
I know. I either looked like I jumped out of a Gap commercial
Yeah.
or I was like full on rocker grunge. But I just think that it's cute because they don't want to embrace everything about the 90s, but yet they're like, yeah, the 90s are back. I'm rocking my 90s outfit. So I would love for somebody to actually do a full on 90s makeover. Have you ever seen this on TikTok? The girl does the 90s hair with, remember the little clips,
Oh yeah.
you know, the little rolls with all the butterfly clips.
Yes. We had bad hair in the 90s.
We really did. The bad layered look, as I mentioned,
Yes.
had the Jennifer Aniston, the Rachel
Yeah.
Green hair, but we had a lot of stuff that nobody's touching. Like
But you know what though? I think what's great about bringing back old trends is that you can pick and choose through them and pick out all the good stuff because there's going to be good and bad in every era, right? I mean, look at the 80s. There were some good things in there. But I mean, look at all the tie-dye right now. Like,
yes, in like the full on tracksuits.
yes,
Tie-dye tracksuits.
that I like it.
I'm really digging that. Like, I'm super grateful for the tracksuit because I remember in the 90s that you didn't really wear tracksuits.
No,
It was kind of like you wore K-way pants.
Yes, I was going to say K-way. Absolutely.
Tearaway pants.
Yes.
You were super cool if you did that. Or you wore the full-on Adidas outfit.
What were those jackets? They were like a nylon jacket. What was it called? Sun something? Remember they had like the iridescent sort of purpley shades to them?
Yeah.
Oh, they were all different colors. I have to look that up. Those were big. A lot of people had those.
Yes. I was thinking more of like Varney, but that was or the Tree Torn sneakers.
Tree Torns, yeah. That was like kind of late 80s, right? Yeah. I love those.
The best was the bomber jacket.
Oh, yes. Yes, the flight jackets, you know, the guys would be wearing the flight jackets. I thought any guy who wore a flight jacket was extra cute.
Yes.
Right? With your 8-hole docks on or 10-hole docks or whatever you're wearing.
And your bomber jacket was either green or it was black. And I know that came back into style because my son had one like not too long ago.
Yeah, I bought one for my jacket a few years ago and he had a navy blue one and you could put your pens in the side of the sleeve.
Yeah.
And,
I was like, oh my gosh, like you're so sick right now. Okay, mom. But yeah, interesting the fashions. It's you know, taking me down memory lane. There's certain ones that I would never do again. But going back to the makeup, the big thing was like dark plum lipstick.
Yes, dark. You're
like,
right.
Very vamp. Because I went through goth too.
Oh yeah.
Rocking the goth look.
Big time. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Now you see them trying to do it and you're like, we didn't have eyelashes back in the 90s. They were gone with our eyebrows.
I think the best picture is to look at a picture of Brooke Shields. Back in the 90s, she was kind of that look, right? She represented those eyebrows and I mean, just the darker makeup, the darker lips and she was that's
the advice I actually gave my daughter about eyebrows. I said to her, whatever you do, don't mess around with your eyebrows because you have a chance that they will not grow back.
Which is so weird.
I know. Out of all the hair in our body, that's the only place where it's not really going to grow back. Come on.
Right. Like if you could pluck all your arm hairs out, you know they're going to grow back because that's what they do. But your eyebrows, no, like the focal point of your face, they don't grow back.
And plus, you don't want to mess around with it because it can change your whole facial expression.
Oh yeah.
right? I mean, pandemic, I am trying to do my eyebrows, and I did buy this like Nair kit where you
Oh.
do it.
Oh.
Oh,
I don't
today,
mess.
I literally was like, I know I'm taking my glasses off right now, but like you can't really tell because I have to grow it in, but it was like this
Oh yeah, no, don't do that.
because I could not get
You
it
have
to, but I couldn't get it even, but I was just like, I need my eyebrows done this pandemic.
Oh yeah, but you have good eyebrows though.
Yeah, I mean, I was
You
lucky
do.
that I didn't do that when I was younger. Like I didn't pluck them or
Yeah.
do anything with them. I kept them full.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's just something about when you screw around with your eyebrows.
Oh yeah, you don't. I see. I have little thin, little fair eyebrows, but I never did anything to them. Same with my mom. They were
Yeah.
just like that, which is a blessing because I just get them waxed once a year.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm serious.
I
just to get the little fair,
Yeah.
and they don't do anything. But they're also, I can't really make them look fuller and bigger, and unless of course you get into the. Have you seen the whole henna?
Yes.
You do like a henna kind of style tattoo eyebrow,
Yeah.
which is a bit more commitment.
And plus, I don't like to like put pain and stuff with me, so I steer away from that sort of thing. But yeah, the 90s are back, so if you're gonna rock out a 90s fashion and you're gonna tell me that it's back in style, you better be rocking those eyebrows with it. So
We need to do a 90s day on here. We'll both do 90s makeup, 90s clothes. I know you can only see part of us, but
we will do that.
Yeah.
We will do the full blown. We will teach the younger generation what it was really like to rock out that makeup in the 90s.
Yeah. I gotta wear my overalls, but just one strap, you gotta let the one strap hang.
And it had to be flipped.
Yeah, you gotta flip it.
Right?
Yeah.
It had
That's
to be
right.
flipped.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We have to do that.
French socks.
Oh yeah, there's so much we can teach them. Well, that's it for us today. It was another jam-packed, great conversation as always. Have a great week, and don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms and get us on all the podcast platforms. And if you would like to be on the show, let us know. Send us a message.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Life, love, and lipstick.